once you get the helix towards the shaft here, make sure that you feel it touching, kind of align it around by hand to make sure that the bushing does not run into the shaft itself. See, it's on the shaft nice and good now. Okay, right now the arrow on the back side is here compared to the arrow on the front side here. So if you want to get it to line up better, you could just turn the helix, right? Bring it up to the stop. Right there, it's going to stop. The roller is approximately this position. And then look at the back. And you can see the holes are lined up. So that's pretty close, right? 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, if you were standing from that side facing this way. And now we'll get ready to Loctite the fasteners. I use a lot. I'm not shy with the Loctite at all. Just put them in finger tight. Don't tighten any of them up until you have all of them in. So we'll just get them all snugged up a little bit. Good enough. 24 foot-pounds for the fasteners for the helix. So that's what we got the torque wrench set up already. Try and do an opposing pattern, tighten, right? Sequence. That was a click. Just back it off a little bit. Just enough to fit the wrenches. The wrench. See the bolt, the upper retaining tool, upper gear retaining tool, and just kind of get it. You'd be able to see it if you had better light than I got, and should be able to hold. Now I'm turning in the shaft onto the retaining tool. Okay, now it's completely on. So hold this portion of the tool while you shove the shaft in. Here are the gear teeth. Sometimes the shaft doesn't want to mate with the gear well. So when you're turning the shaft, you can feel the gear teeth of the shaft meshing with the gear, and it taps a bit. So sometimes it just won't push in. So what you have to do is usually need a second helper, a second guy, and in this case here, what I had to do is I had to take this long screwdriver and put it underneath the gear teeth, and I just had to pry on the gear a bit. Just a little bit like that, while he rotated it on that side. And once he felt it lock, click, he was able to tap it in. Over here. Okay, go.
Yep.
Okay, so we had to cut for a second to get Nathan on the other side. As I mentioned, sometimes we have to just put a little pressure on the bottom of the gear to hold it straight. And now Nathan turned the clutch so he felt the gear teeth just mesh and stop. So now he's able, we're done now. Now, Nathan, if you can, maybe Blair show him what Nathan's doing. Just give it a little tap, just a little tap. Yeah. Okay, stop. Now, stand outside. Come over here. So, the bearing's in the saddle. And maybe if Blair, you could hold the flashlight there at the same time. I'm going to hold the gear on this side. Okay, give her a tap. Keep on. Yeah. Go till it stops. There, that's it, done. All right. It was a little bit cranky to get in, but we have it in and we're good to go. And the washer is still on the back of the gear, and we can bolt everything together now. This one's a little cranky to get out, and we're just have to start it off like that. You can use channel lock pliers also in place of a pipe wrench. It'll work too.
Nate, you're at 10 again?
So now we're going to put the bearing clamp back in. Here's the tricky part. Try not to lose any
Want that thing coming over here.
Try not to lose the fasteners. This one's tricky. So you gotta get your hand in there first, I think. Whoa. Right on. Okay, so we'll tighten that down and get ready for the next side. This is sometimes a little bit cranky to put on. And what way does it go on anyway? There we go. So you have to put it on the opposite way. Don't be shy. Just push it. So we're going to leave this alone because we're going to adjust the belt. And we'll go lock down the other side. So we've cleaned the top gear bolt off with brake cleaner, and it's dry now. And we're going to apply quite a bit of Loctite. I'm not shy with it. I like to use a lot. And this bolt is torqued at 35 pounds. 35! Which seems like an awful lot, but it's a fair size fastener to hold the top gear in. The top bolt is 35 pounds, and we have the brake locked, and the fastener has, oh, there we go, 35. And just make sure the seal's on proper there, so it's not going to leak. Right on. Now, make sure that the sensor is clean. Never touch with your fingers. And we'll put the probe in and we're good to go for now here. There we go. Going to install a belt on the clutches. $391, good belt. We don't know how tight it has to be. What we'll do after is start the sled up to check the deflection. But at this point, we'll just put a good chunk of deflection into it.
When you get a chance.
And we'll lock it down. That should be good enough. We'll set the deflection outside and get the track turning what we think is correct. And we're off to the races. We have a set of Travis's quick clickers on here. And notice how they're spring loaded, right? These clicker bolts that are on the 11, 12, and 13 models, see how thin the head is of the fastener compared to the older models. So now when the engine's running, the engine's at idle, actually every power pulse of the engine causes the clicker to do this because of the acceleration, deceleration from every power pulse of the engine. So what can happen sometimes is, say they're all set in clicker 3. Just by virtue of idling the engine and the engine mounts and everything shaking, the clicker can actually pop out and go to a lower number. And so you'll have, say, 2 clickers on 3 and 1 clicker will go on 1. So when you're running these quick clickers, just every once in a while have a look at your primary to see if all 3 calibration screws are on the same number. And then you can figure if your RPM's low, it's because of something else and not the clicker calibration from coming loose.